Hello, 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 and welcome to Stephanie Lester and the art of fibre alchemy. So, it's been a week. Gosh, doesn't time fly? So when I was here last time, I'm just going to recap here in case you didn't see the last one. I was saying what I'm going to do is talk you through one particular project, but obviously I'll be doing, well, not obviously at all. In my world, I don't ever do just one project at a time. I have several on the go. So whilst I'm going to take us through one of my projects right from the very start, from my doing my research and sketching and everything else all the way through, I will actually be sharing the other projects that I'm doing at the time because I won't be able to help myself basically. Because why do I do so many projects at one go? Because I find that when I'm creating, I get to a particular point where I actually find I've either really pleased with myself and I think, let's not tempt fate and just leave it there and I'll come back. Or I might be where I think, this is a bit tricky, it's not going well, and I stop and I come back with a new breath. And it could be a week later sometimes. So it's actually really good to have this show for me to come on and share with you because it makes me think each week, what do I want to have achieved by next time? Because sometimes, like I did mention Frida Kahlo last time, who has been floundering in the background for quite some time, sometimes projects like that can just end up being put in the back burner, not being brought out. So it's quite nice to have the show, which kind of gives me the prompt to come on and do it. So anyway, as I'm going, please do ask questions. Hopefully I'm going to see them here. So even if when you came on, you just said hello, that would be brilliant. I'm going to just quickly tap into this to see if I can actually see what's going on. Probably not. Let me plug that in so that I don't actually, there we go. Okay, so hopefully I might see questions if you've got any. Anyway, so the Gecko, let me start with the Gecko because that is the main project at the moment that I'm going to be talking about. So where were we last time? So last time I was saying that Val had actually purchased, I'll move my head out of the way, Thetis, my sea turtle behind me, and wants me to do a gecko to travel with, I say. And she wanted it to be on some wood on the wall. And whilst the colours to go, not to completely match, obviously, because Thetis is quite unique in her own colours. So what I initially do is I go off and I do a bit of a sketch and then I create the armature, the skeleton. So I have actually hopefully got another camera, which I'm going to bring in so that I can actually show you my sketch. Ooh. Yes, there we go. You see, technology, isn't it marvellous? Hopefully I didn't break your eardrums then because that was the microphone going a little bit splat. There we go. Hopefully you're all right. Sorry about that. Right, so let's bring that camera in. Let's get him turned on so that we can see and then go back. Technology is a marvellous thing when it works. There we go. Right. So what I'm going to do is show you my sketch. And I know I'm going to tag Val in later so that she can actually see this too. So occasionally I might actually say, oh, and Val. So that I'm pointing it out to her specifically. So basically, as I said, this is to go with Thetis. If I turn the right way, if you see me in the little picture behind me. So I wanted to get the blues and the purples, but Val had shown me a picture that she quite liked, which gave this kind of feature. So bearing in mind, there is no gecko which has this colouring. I am doing it so that the actual structure and the features of the gecko are going to be realistic, but the colours, because Val's going to live in Costa Rica, and in Costa Rica, hi Julie, brilliant. Thank thank you for actually putting a message up so I can see your messages. Brilliant. So what she's actually asked me to do is to do the colours. They quite often use icons in Costa Rica of the gecko, really colourful. So what I'm going to show you some of the actual fibres I'm going to be using, so you'll get more of an idea of the colours, because I'm looking, yeah, actually it's not coming along over too badly on the camera, but there's mauves and blues and then greens and turquoise. But what I really want to do is get a real kind of goldy spine up. And if I show you the piece of wood, because this is me pretending piece of wood on the background, but you will see when I show you this, hopefully, that it is a real kind of bendy, beautiful piece that the gecko is going to be mounted on the wall like a sconce and, you know, on top of it, which I'm quite excited about, actually. And if I show you, I always start with my, hi Carol, thanks for joining. I always start with, I'm going to turn this over so you can actually see this proper, with a skeleton. And I had my little basic drawing that I started with, and I basically get my skeleton to fit round. I've still got to do the little toes, but they are going to be quite tiny. So I thought I'll wait until I'm absolutely ready to go for that. So this is how I start, with the skeleton that I then start wrapping and felting basically the wall. Now, if you came on before, you'll know that Thetis, who this is going to be a companion to, hasn't actually got wool as the core. It's got recycled plastic fibres, which look like, I'm looking down to see if I've got any down there at the moment. Oh, I've got a little bit. Here we go. Look like wool. And actually felts as hard as rock, which was brilliant for the sea turtle. So I think it makes sense to match them, that the gecko should also have that as the centre. And then I can use, once again, all the plant-based fibres. And there's also a bio-nylon. Now, I did look into why is it a bio-nylon. And basically, normal nylon is made using oil from the, obviously, chemical industries. And what bio-nylon is, there's a company which has actually worked out a way to produce the enzyme that's required to make bio-nylon without using oil. So that's the bio part. And so that company then sells that enzyme to the companies which make bio-nylon, and obviously that can go into clothing and everything else. But I use it in my sculptures. But the brilliant thing is they dye fantastically, the colours. Let me show you. Because I will turn over again that gecko so that you can see that actually these colours are glorious. So she says bending over off camera. So look at that. Isn't that a glorious, glorious mauve and blue? And this is actually a slightly different, yeah, it does come out. So this is a real plummy, this is, and I'm not sure if you can see on camera, but this is a bio-nylon. And this one is, no, get your hand out of the way, Steph. That's a bamboo. And the difference is the bamboo, can you see it, is actually shinier. And the bio-nylon has just got that kind, you probably can't distinguish it on the camera, not sure. But anyway, that is, for me, that's a difference when I'm choosing, because the colours are equally vibrant. And I've got these beautiful greens and sea greens. And let me just nip off here, one sec. Oh, there we go. I'm going to get, I would never be good on proper telly, would I? Because I keep disappearing off. Yes, so here, look at that. I thought it actually is showing on screen to be a lot more yellow. That's actually a bit more orangey than that. I mean, that's really orange. So I'm not sure. Might do a couple of specks of that. But the great thing is just like painting, I can mix and blend these colours. It's not like when we see underneath here. only see where I've tried to, with the watercolours, blend the colours in. I can blend them like that and make them stronger and go more mauve and more blue and more green in that same way. But this is subdued. This painting is subdued in comparison to what it's going to be. Brilliant. So hopefully I shall, yeah, fab colours, aren't they, Julie? I mean, wouldn't you just love to have those in your palette? They are just glorious. So I am quite excited. But obviously the first part I've got to do is to create the shape in the core. Now, another needle felting artist, she was, let me just quickly go, let me put me back in there. There you go. She's did sculptures with clay and everything before she came to needle felting. And when you do clay, you call it that you're in the white before you actually put, I think you might even dry it and then you add slip and glazes and actually put it in the kiln and everything afterwards. And she still calls it, when she creates our wonderful core pieces, she still calls it in the white. Because of course, more often than not, we're using white. Well, in her case, probably more likely to be wool, whereas quite often I'm using this recycled plastic, which is also white. So in the white, as it were, before we add our glazes and everything onto it, which, yeah, I think that's quite a good way of actually describing it. So hopefully next week, what I will have is produced the main part of the body, so that, and probably, because I need to decide how I'm going to do those little toes, because as you can imagine, they're really quite tiny. And I do toes differently every time I do them. In fact, one of the times when I did a little dog, I had to video myself so that I could remember how I'd actually done those particular ones, because I thought by the time I've come back and do another dog, I'll have done so many different animals, I'll have forgotten I actually did it. So video is a marvellous thing. So yeah, hopefully. So as I say, it's been really good to actually focus in, because this week it was my birthday, lovely, and we went to Wales for a couple of days, because we hope to, well, the original plan was we hope to next year move to Wales, but we fell in love with the house. Oh my god. And so we are drastically trying to sell our house. Well, I don't think trying to sell the house is the problem. The house will sell. It's just that we've got to tidy it up a bit before we let anybody around. So at the moment, I'm just spending half a day my creations and half a day running around doing things around the house. But that's great. I love something to focus me in. Give me a date. Focus me in. Brilliant. So yeah, so I'm going to focus on getting that core done and bringing that to you next week. But what I also wanted to show you is, because, you know, I shared last week the scary Frida Kahlo. And I say scary because I've got her here, and I will bring her up again in a minute. But I have actually started to do a sketch for her, because my idea of my Frida Kahlo is that, if you know the story of Frida, she was a fabulous artist, Mexican. And she always considers herself to be half dead, half alive. And oh, look, so you can see on here, that's the trouble with having this other camera. Look at that. Is that scary or what? I think it's probably just as well to leave it on that little camera rather than bring it up on the big one. Bless her. So let me show you my idea. If you can see from initially my sketch. Shall I bring that bigger? Yeah, let's bring that bigger. Oh, there we go. Magic. The idea is that half of her is going to be beautiful Frida, and the other half is going to be like the Day of the Dead, because she always said it was like she was half dead because of that dreadful accident that she had when she was in her teens or early 20s. And she always, because of her back, the pain that she had. So I thought, how appropriate. And I do believe the Day of the Dead is kind of from the Mexican culture. So I thought that would be quite a good way of doing it. So at the moment, let me just show you where I am with my sketch, because Sammy said she'd like to see my sketch processes as I go. So this is the start of Frida with half of her beautiful face, and then I'll get on and do the other half. So I thought that might, bearing in mind Frida's been on the back burner for quite some time, I thought if I actually do the sketch, I may well be better at following through, because I think sometimes that's what really makes me focus in on what I'm doing, because otherwise I get halfway through and kind of change my mind. So it's really good practice to know what I'm doing. I mean, I know I am that kind of an artist, which is, change my mind halfway through. And it doesn't really bother me as such, but it does slow you down a bit and the old process and everything. So that's my Frida. And one thing I was also going to say was whenever I do, let me bring me back on there. What I do is when I do the structure, the armature, I nearly always do 2. And when I start creating that white version of it, I nearly always start 2 of those as well. And then I get to a certain point and I just carry on with 1. Now, when I did Thetis, right, that way. When I did Thetis, I only created 1 because I had very limited in my time. So whilst I was doing my Gecko, I also created another. You see that on the little one, on the little camera there. In fact, if I bring that up equally with me, you might be able to see it better. Okay, so you can probably see that this is the head. There we go, put it around like that. Got the little head hanging down. And this lovely big green is what I call the Cornish pasty edge of the shell. And then the structure through the middle. And then I need to decide whether this next turtle that I do will be a male or a female. Because unsurprisingly, the male has a long tail and the female has a little tail. So the main thing is because obviously Thetis will be disappearing, I wanted to do another armature before Thetis disappeared. Because, oh, hi, Katerina. Oh, yeah, Frida, I know, Katerina, you're doing Fridas at the moment. I've been watching those. You're on your second one, aren't you? Yeah. What do you think about my idea about half, Day of the Dead and half, maybe? Yeah, so I figured I better get on and do that before Thetis disappears. I just like to have that connection so that I can always never do one exactly the same. It's like the hummingbirds I did. I actually did 2 other structures for that so that I can crack on and get another one done if I need to. So the other thing that I haven't actually started yet, but I've just pulled off my reference shot, is this. I'm actually going to do, it's a razorback pig is called. And I think they're like wild boars in Arkansas, in America. They're like their mascot for the football team. I think it's the football team. It's definitely a sports team anyway. And also, I believe, for the university that my friend works at. So, as I say, once again, I concentrate on the skeleton to start with. And the great thing about this guy is the teeth. I'm actually sorry, I just saw a message came and got a bit sidetracked. It's these great teeth. Now, this is the thing. What do I make the teeth out of? Because I could do them if you were here when I was talking about doing my, and I'm now going to point the right way. Yes. There we go. Pegasus. When I did Pegasus's hooves, I made those hooves out of silver, as in real silver, which is the art clay, which you bake in. Well, I bake it in a kiln that you put in the microwave, but you would do it in a normal kiln if you're a normal human being. But that was what got me. Oh, fine, Katerina. Yeah, could do. Now, I use a particular clay, but it's not Fibre, it's called Medina, and it's Japanese. And I prefer that to Fibre. Number one, you don't have to bake it, but it actually has a texture to it, which I think is quite similar. I'm trying to think what it is. Oh, I tell you what, on my meerkat, the claws, they're made out of this Medina. Love that. But I'm now thinking, I could do something really crazy with those big old tusks and make them maybe out of silver, because bearing in mind this piece is not ultra realistic. Okay, number one, the mascot, which the picture I haven't got here at the moment, the mascot is basically burgundy. Okay, not realistic, obviously. And also we're going to do something particularly special on the Razorback, which I have mentioned before, but I won't mention it again, just because I think it's a really nice surprise. If you weren't in on it, you get the surprise. So yeah, that's going to go down the back there. But on the basis that it's not ultra realistic and it's actually trying to make a point, so I'm thinking, oh, I could actually go quite, extreme. Not necessarily silver, could be another metal. But anyway, I shall no doubt involve you in that decision when I get to that point. So that's where I am with that. I do have quite a few other projects which are kind of down in my den, but I thought that was probably enough to share with you at the moment. Although, let me show you about the fear of showing you something completely different, as we say. Another part of my world is that I repair rocking horses, okay, but not your wooden rocking horses. They're your rocking horses which have actually got fabric, fur on them, hence fur needle felting makes sense, doesn't it? And the other thing that I've done is I've kind of made critter teddy bears. Now, you may not no, I haven't got any up there at the moment, but they're things like, it might be a Highland cow instead of a teddy bear. And I am at the moment making a likeness of somebody's cat as a kind of bear, and I've got the head. I'm just going to show you that. Bearing in mind it's not finished yet, but and the eyes are probably too, big. Where are you? Is that? Yeah, the eyes are. I've got to do eyelids, which make those eyes smaller type thing, and it is just a head at the moment. It's going to obviously be a body and everything else, and it'll turn. But Steve at the moment finds that quite scary if I leave that, because we do have 3 cats. Mind you, it doesn't smell, so they don't attack it or anything. But anyway, yeah, that's just something else that, getting on with. Excellent. Anyway, so thank you guys. I think that was what I was going to come on and share with you today. So apart from my joy about finding our dream home, that we are now running around trying to tidy up the house. So I do love having this focus to come on and do these lives, because it really does give me that I must get these things done by that time. Otherwise, I have a tendency to sort of focus on the wrong things. So thank you guys for giving me this focus, which I need, so I can come on and share with you my projects. But yeah, so Katerina, I shall be watching your Frida Kahlo, definitely, with my interest on my Frida Kahlo. Perhaps we should kind of do a whole Frida Kahlo theme. What do you reckon? Beautiful woman in and out. Okay, so anyway, I've said everything that I wanted to. So if anybody has anything they want to ask, by all means, fire away now or in the comments afterwards. And Val, who I'm actually doing the Gecko for, I'm going to tag you in this so that you can come on and see all those colours and everything that I'm doing, and my sketch and everything else. And we will talk and see if we're good to go. So brilliant. So thanks, guys. Thanks for dropping on. And I will catch up with you next week.